I did do a term at Oxford, and I got myself very into Oxford theatre very, very fast. And I thought I'd find, a load of people who could really write lyrics. And you know what? I realized very, very quickly that good lyric writing is very, very, very specific, and good lyricists do not grow on trees. And I realized that Tim and his turn of phrase and everything he was doing was very special. And so I think the proof of the pudding really was the first thing we wrote, which was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Wasn't actually the first thing we wrote, because we did a musical that never got on, which was a sort of commission. But you listen to Joseph, and we just had a revival of it in the London Palladium, which has been an enormous success in London. And I was struck. I had nothing to do with this revival. I just went to it as if I was an ordinary member of the public, really. And I was so struck by how his words and everything are still fresh over 50 years later after we wrote it. And I think that answers your question. I knew very, very early on that his words were special. And London was very much is what they called swinging London in those days, what I caught the tail end of it. And but again, I was an odd animal, because everybody else was doing rock and pop. And although rock and pop was a huge part of my background, I still wanted to do musicals. And musicals were not what people were doing then, particularly in Britain.